Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new card making video. I'm doing a really fun card today that's got an interactive element, a surprise element, a gift card, and it's a super duper cute new stamp set from Spellbinders designed by Simon Hurley. Big hugs. There's this pug, a cat, and there is the panda bear, which is so cute. A bunch of sentiments and some supporting images as well. And there's dies to cut out all of the images, but not the sentiments, but they're really easy to put on a strip. So let's jump in and start with card number 1. I really wanted to put the dog and the cat on my card. So I'm going to start out with the cat. I wanted to make an orange tabby cat. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I don't like this cat. It doesn't look like a cat to me. It looks more like a badger. It looks mad. I don't see a cat. So I thought I'm going to make an orange tabby cat that's going to make it feel more like a cat to me. So I stamped it on some light orange cardstock with some Spice Marmalade Distress Oxide ink and embossed it with clear powder. And I probably should have just left it right like that. After die cutting it, I decided I would add a little color to it. So you'll see that in a moment, but next we're going to do the dog. So there's my orange tabby cat. The dog I am going to stamp down on this kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a golden tan color, and I'm going to stamp that with black VersaFine Onyx ink and then emboss it with white also. And I'm going to stamp this more than once because there's a lot of solid area and I want to make sure it's really good ink coverage before embossing with the clear powder. And he is adorable. I love this set for this dog and for that panda so much. So there's coordinating dies to cut him out and they're just so very cute. So there's the cat, the dog. I decided I wanted a little bit of shadowing, so I'm using E55 for the dog. I don't know what color I used for the cat. I cut that part out because I don't like it. I added more because it looked weird. I put some black Sharpie marker over the top of his eyes and nose. I didn't like it at all. So I thought, okay, let's do the orange ink, but this time on white paper. That's going to be better. So I did, and I embossed it, and I still didn't like it. I even added some Copic marker coloring to this one as well, and honestly I should have just left them without any coloring, either one of them, but I just didn't like it. So you know what, I gave myself permission to say, you know what, I'm not using it. I'm just putting it aside. So let's move on to the card. Enough with the cat. This paper is 4 inches by 11 inches. I scored it at 1/2 inch and at 5 3/4. This is going to make my matchbook style card. There are a lot of different measurements you can do for a matchbook style card. This is just one that I created for this stamp set specifically. All right, so now I am stamping Sending Pug Hugs, and I'm going to emboss that. I'm doing a ton of embossing in this video. It's kind of the thing that got me hooked on stamping, or got me like most excited about stamping at my very first card making event. There was embossing, and I thought that is so cool, and it's what got me started in card making. I did embossing on my very first cards that I ever made, some Christmas cards with some like frosty trees on dark blue paper. It was so pretty. And it's all been uphill since then. Let me just say, like the first card you ever made, you look back and think, oh my gosh, I made that. And then as you get more into card making, you look back and think, oh my word, I made that. You know what I mean? Your card making skills get better, and that's probably because we've bought more supplies like this paper cutter, right? You have an awesome paper cutter, you got the embossing folders, you got the embossing gun, which you thought you didn't need at first, and you tried to do it with the hairdryer and it didn't work, all those kinds of things. So I have an embossing folder here that's 3D. This is the balloons and banners. It was the 3D embossing folder of the month that I subscribed to, get in the mail from Spellbinders, and it was for the month of May. It's available at Spellbinders now. Sometimes when they have leftover kits, they make them available. So I just splattered on the top of that with some sparkle silks. Now, Spellbinders used to carry these. I'm not sure if they still do, but you can use any of the splattery things that you like, you might have on hand, metallic watercolors even. And then that I put over the top of, or on the top panel of my card. And you can see how I hooked the little pug onto the flap and put the sending big pug hugs there at the bottom. And now I wanted to have some of the supporting images from the set so that it looked like the pug's holding them and he has a little party hat, and just like really build up the scene with these extra images. So I'm just going to Copic color these in after stamping them with some black ink onto white paper. And they're just really cute, easy images to color and really help set the scene for this birthday. I'm using E53 for my cake, kind of to make like a yellow cake, and it kind of also brings out the color in the pug as well. All right, so then for the balloons, I'm just doing 2 colors, really super easy coloring here, nothing hard, nothing tricky. I'm a very simple Copic colorist. I usually do 2 or 3 blends unless it's like a really big image. I just keep it really simple, but I love coloring and I love the results that I get with my Copic markers. So if you are, maybe new to it, you don't have to know all of the things to get started with Copic coloring, but you can definitely learn more as you go. Just like, I started at the beginning with a hair dryer for embossing. I didn't know, but I learned as I went, and I just had fun doing it. So there's my images, and I wanted to give them a little something extra. So I'm bringing in my white gel pen and adding some highlights to the things, and it really like brings those images to life. I love adding my white gel pen highlights. So you'll see me do that on most any image that I color and put on my cards. So we'll die cut those out with the coordinating dies and then go ahead and put them on the pug. So of course the hat on his head, and then he's going to hold the balloons. I put the shorter string behind his paw and the longer string in front, so it makes it look more like he's holding them. And then, yeah, the cake, it's not to size at all. Not at all. It's like a mini personalized cake. That's what it is. All right, I'm going to stamp the word celebrate, emboss that with white powder, and that's going to go on the front of the card as well at the top. And then I wanted to do some of these little like fireworks. So I'm taking a piece of orange cardstock that's darker than my background because this is going to go on top of that, and I want it to, stand out a little bit. So I'm going to do 2 of those. I just flipped my cardstock and stamped both of them, then emboss them with white powder. You can see I'm doing like clear powder and white powder interchangeably throughout this card. And I think that it's still as magical as the first time I saw it. Like having that powder melt up, it's raised up, it's shiny. It's just so much fun. It really adds to a card, gives it a little bit of texture and dimension. All right, so I'm laying those things out how I think they're going to go on my card, and then I'm going to pop them up with some thin foam squares, and then the sentiment is going to like span across the top of that. So I'll need a little bit of foam squares in the middle. So I'm going to cut them in half so they fit, but then on the ends, I'll add a little glue where they're going to overlap those little firework images, just like that. Isn't that fun? So good. Okay. So as I was making this card, I was like, I really should have used a magnet to hold my pug down. And I would have hidden the magnet behind my background had I thought of it sooner. So I had to keep creating this card till I could think of a way to hide the magnet. So I decided I would die cut out a second one of those pugs from the light orange so it matches the background. And then I put the magnet behind it, and I'm going to glue that in place. So that's going to hide the background magnet. The second magnet, I should not have peeled that sticker off. It's going to make it stick where I don't want it to stick. But now I've attached the magnet to the magnet that's already down, and then I'm supposed to be picking it up with the back of the pug, but it's stuck because I peeled that sticker off. So what I decided to do was just add another die cut behind my pug. It hid the magnet on the back of the pug, but also made it more sturdy. And now it has a magnetic open and shut mechanism. Okay, for the inside of my card, I had some big ideas. So I wanted to, use the cat on the inside, but I don't like that cat. I'm just going to be honest. If I like things, I'm going to tell you. If I don't, I'm going to tell you. Okay? I don't like the cat. So I'm doing a black pug. Now, this is like a really dark brown, almost a grayish brown cardstock here. And I thought this would look good to make my black pug. So it's not black on black, but I've got some contrast there. And I really like the idea of having this different color pug for the inside of the card, it just makes it a little bit more fun. And, you know, it's okay that I don't use the cat. I love the stamp set enough to have it, even though I don't like the cat. So I have a 1" by 4" piece of cardstock here that I've scored at 1, 2, and 3 inches to make my pop-up mechanism. As you can see, I'm attaching it here at the fold, and that's going to allow me to have my little pug pop up when we open the card. So what I need to do is add him to the front there, just like that. So I'll put a little adhesive there, and I like to do this standing up so that I know it's going to work when I open and shut the card. The little pug isn't going to get caught. I did get a little extra adhesive there I had to undo, but that worked out fine. And then I'm going to take one of the sentiments here and curve it and then stamp it. So it can look like a little banner that my pug is holding. And it says sending birthday hugs. So we've got sending big pug hugs on the outside, and then sending birthday hugs will be on the inside. So I'm embossing that with white, of course. I mean, once you like start embossing things, it's hard to stop. I have all the things out already. I might as well, right? And I actually have an embossing station in the cupboard of my desk. My desk has a little cupboard. So I have like a bin with all my powders in it. My gun is there plugged in. I just open the cupboard, take it out, heat it up. My anti-static powder tool, like everything is there. So I can emboss anytime I want super easily. All right, I have a piece of pattern paper here from my stash, and it is 2.5 inches by 4 inches to match the width of my white paper. I used a circle punch to take a little bite out of the top, put adhesive on 3 sides, so the sides and the bottom, and that creates a little gift card pocket. So this card is just full of fun. Like we have the magnetic closure, it has a fun opening, and then we've got our pop-up, and then we have a gift card, and there's still even room to write a message on the inside. So the images that I colored had they needed to be a little more sturdy, plus they had coloring that went through the paper. So I did go ahead and do a second die cut behind the hat, the balloons, and the cake. And now this whole thing was 4 inches and closed up measures 5 1/4 inches. So I just mounted it onto an A2 size piece of cardstock. So 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, giving it a nice pink border all the way around. And yeah, it is so cute and so much fun. I definitely wanted to make a second one with the panda because the panda is so cute. It really reminds me of Kung Fu Panda. So I'm going to do that. And this time I'm going to make a love-themed card. And I really wanted to have this sentiment right here that says this much, because those animals are holding their arms out, and it reminds me of something like you'd say to your little kid, like, I love you this much, right? So I thought I would try my hand at brush lettering, which I can somewhat do, but I haven't done it in a long time. So I was trying and practicing, and my husband came in and talked to me, and I got distracted, and I just, I was not loving it. So I said, maybe I'll do just like my own handwriting and just do some block letters. I would have had to practice like 800 times. So I just went to my Cameo silhouette and I designed this. I mean, you just type up the word, this is this much. You change it to the font that you want, change it to the size that you want. I created a shadow layer and I cut it out. You could easily also like type this up on the computer and print it out. Like when you just have to have something, you got to find a way. And I really needed it to say this much. So I did. And I actually even turned the dot for it's called a tittle for the eye. I turned it into a heart. Because when I write in cursive writing or any writing and I make a dot on the top of the eye, I always make them a heart. So yeah, I had to do that. So then I glued those onto the shadow layer. I did 2 of them because in case I want another one, I can have it in with the stamp set. And then of course I saved it on my Cameo. So anytime I want to do it in another color with this set, I have it. And so now let's stamp out the panda. I'm using that VersaFine Onyx black ink, and I'm going to stamp this 2 times because I already know I'm going to have a pop-up panda on the inside also. So I'm going to stamp him 2 times and emboss it with clear powder. And I just like the clear powder. You could also do black here, but the clear powder works just as fine. I already had it out, so that's what I did. All right, so there he is, covered in powder. Isn't he cute? He has a really like happy face. I love that. And then we'll heat set that, and he's good to go. He's so cute. And then this time I already knew that I wanted to have extra pieces to back them. So when I die cut this, I die cut 2 pandas and 2 pieces to go behind. And look how cute that looks. Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay, so now we're going to shadow color these. So just a little bit of shadowing. And I used the T2 marker for my shadow on this guy. Kept it really light, but I like having that little bit of shadow there. It just kind of adds a little depth to it. All right, so here's the same card base, 4 inches by 11 inches, scored at 1/2 inch and scored at 5 3/4. And then that top flap, you do want to cut just a shading off of the bottom so it closes better. Now this is the Bamboo Trellis 3D embossing folder. Isn't it perfect for this card? I really wanted to originally do it on green, but I knew I wanted a Valentine's card and I wanted to use the red, but I decided red and green, I'm so over that. I gotta move past Christmas, I can't do it. So I thought, why not just do it on pink, and we'll do pink and red, and I love how that turned out. I did do the splatter on the background with the same splatters that I used on the first card, and now I'm just kind of getting like everything ready for this card. So the sentiment, I love you, stamped with the white ink embossed with white powder, and then the bear hugs is actually 2 separate images. So I thought I would just try to angle them on my paper so I could cut them out to be like a little rounded banner. It worked out pretty good. You'll see. All right, and then there's hearts in this stamp set. So I'm going to stamp those with clear embossing ink this time. And then I'm going to emboss them with red embossing powder. So there's 3 hearts. I decided I would go ahead and stamp them twice. That way I'd have plenty of hearts. If I wanted to put some on the inside, I could do that. So here's my red embossing powder from Wow. I love having different colored embossing powders, especially because it really bothers me to ink up my images with red ink and they get stained red. Does that bother you? Oh my goodness, it really bothers me. So I decided I'm going to emboss these because I'm embossing everything else on these cards. Why not, right? All right, so I thought it'd be fun to use the present in this set, but I like wasn't really sure where I was going to put it because of how I was making this card, but I decided I really wanted to have it and I found a place for it after all. So I'm just using 2 markers here. I'm not even like ink blending on this one, but you can see if you color over the same area with 1 Copic marker, it's going to make a darker spot than if you just did 1 swipe of the marker. So there on the top of the present on the little lid, you can see I made it lighter as I went to the middle, and you can easily do that with 1 marker. So there's the present ready to go. I have some pattern paper here. It is from a Christmas pad, but it is pink and red. So I thought it would be really good for like my pocket and a little accent for my flap. So here is where I'm putting the magnet behind that background layer. And then the layer for my panda is going to be hidden behind the panda. So it's going to work out because I have that second piece cut for the panda as well. So that's a really easy way to do this, is to hide it behind the background. And there, I'm going to put this together the same exact way. So the panda's getting stuck to that flap. I'm putting a second one behind him to hide the magnet, make it a little bit more sturdy. And then on the front flap, this time, instead of a sentiment, I'm adding the patterned paper. And that is, I cut it to 1/2 inch, but with the scored line, it actually ends up being a little bit too big and I have to trim some off, just in case you end up replicating this card, which I would absolutely love if you did. That would make me so happy. Just know that you're going to have to trim off a tiny bit if you make that flap actually a 1/2 inch, or just have it stick up over the top of the flap, which is what I did on the pug. All right, so here I'm cutting 2 little flags, and those are going to go behind the word I love you, and I'm going to do that with some thin foam squares, so they just kind of pop up a little bit and are coming from behind the word, and I think that adds to the sentiment for this card. Like the other one I had the fireworks, but I just wasn't feeling fireworks for this one. So put it on just like that, right in between those trellis bars of the bamboo. So cute. And then we'll add those embossed hearts. Very, very fun. All right, then we have the inside, right? We have the little panda going on to put in there as a pop-up. We've got the gift card pocket. Again, this pocket is just 2.5 inches by 4 inches. It's going to fit snugly end to end with, or edge to edge with the card. And then this one I put a Starbucks in. Now these are used gift cards. They're ones I keep on hand for making cards that have gift cards so I can show you, sometimes I need to measure, make sure things fit in a certain spot, and then once I give this, I can put an actual gift card in it. So there you can see I cut up the little bear hug so he can hold it like a banner, and then again my 4-inch strip by 1 inch scored at 1, 2, and 3 inches. That gives me the little pop-up for the inside. And then we'll add 3 more hearts and the little present. I'm just going to stick that right on top of the pocket, even though it's a striped present on striped paper. Maybe would have colored it different in hindsight, but yeah, it's fine. All right, so we're adding this one to a panel that's red. So it's 5.5 inches by 4 inches, and it fits on there perfectly. Makes the card a lot more sturdy. I think it's really needed for this. So there you go. There's my second card. I love you this much. And there we have our pop-ups. Aren't they cute? You could do one with that cat if you like the cat. I don't judge you. Like the cat. I tried to like the cat. I like cats in general, but not this one. All right, thank you so much for stopping by. If you make one of these Matchbook surprise cards, let me know in the comments below. It made me so very happy. I will be back again very soon with a new card making video for you. So if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. And then if you're looking for any of the products I used, I will have all of them that I can find linked for you in the description box below. I'll see you next time. Happy stamping. Bye.